Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us at this CAIR-Chicago press conference in regards to the Bolingbrook family whose home was violently attacked late at night in the early morning of Saturday, 2:30 a.m. Saturday of this past weekend, as they slept in their very home in their suburb that they've been in for 5 years. A brick was thrown through the window of what turned out to be the bedroom of Amir Khan, who's with us here today, the son and the family of 6. He was obviously very startled out of his sleep. Fortunately, he was not hurt. He could have been very badly hurt. His father walked out of the home to discover graffiti covering the walls, the facade of the house in big red paint that included the words nigger, fag, bitch, Arab twice, and a swastika, what we believe to be a swastika. Obviously, they were very shocked and taken aback. They had lived in this neighborhood, as I mentioned, for 5 years without incident. There are other Muslims who live in this neighborhood. It's close to Naperville, which is, by my last bit of research, is considered the #1 place to raise a family in the entire United States of America, not just in Illinois. So you wouldn't expect something like this happening here. They contacted the police. This is under investigation. Currently, we understand there are no leads, but the investigation is going on. It's ongoing. We just want to raise awareness about the fact that in this climate, things like this that happen do not just target one family, but anybody who is Arab, or is black, or is gay, or is a woman. This was misogynistic, homophobic, racist, Islamophobic, as well as violent. We don't know for sure if it's a white supremacist attack. It points in that direction, the clues, but we're going to wait for the investigation to play out. One thing I will emphasize is that according to the statutes, regardless of whether, we don't know yet, whether this is someone who knows Amir and targeted him personally, or whether this was a random act against a family of brown people or a family with a woman who wears a hijab. Either way, whether it was targeted or random, but according to the statutes, it's a hate crime by virtue of the violence coupled with the racial epithets that were posted, or the graffiti that was sprayed. So we asked the police department to investigate it as such, and we believe that they're going to do that with all seriousness. With that, I'll turn it over to Amir Khan, who will share a brief statement.
Hi everyone. I have No one should ever have to live in fear simply for being who they are. The person who threw the brick in my window and tagged the front of my family home with hateful graffiti in the middle of the night is a coward, bully, and a menace to society. My family and I are grateful that no one was hurt from this incident, and we're faithful that whoever did this disgusting crime will be apprehended as soon as possible. We would like to thank the Bolingbrook Police Department for their hard work and dedication for doing everything they can, vigilantly, investigating to find the perpetrators of this attack, and we're confident justice will be served.
Amir, just quickly, it's A-M-I-R, spelling K-H-A-N, right? Spelling your
Correct.
Is that right?
Can you just spell it for the record?
No, it's spelling that.
K-H-A-N.
Your first name.
Amir. A-A-M-I-R.
Double A.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And we'll do questions and answers in a moment. My name, by the way, is Ahmed Rahab, A-H-M-E-D. R-E-H-A-B is my last name. And it's a CAIR-Chicago Executive Director. Again, we don't know the motive, but it's pretty clear what was sprayed, and the shock that comes to me and other people in my community when we see something like this, especially after the recent incidents, the attack at the mosque in New Zealand, the other attacks against Muslims, against Jews, against African American Christians, these houses of worship, etc. It beckons back to a time when, a terrible time, when the word Juden, which meant Jew in German, would be sprayed somewhere, and it was never a personal thing. It was always something that targeted a larger group of people. And so we have with us today a member of the Jewish community, a well-known attorney in the city of Chicago, Kalman Resnick, an interfaith leader here, who works with CAIR-Chicago on several of our immigration cases, to talk a little bit about that larger context that I think sends reverberations in not just our community, but other communities as well when we see something like this.
My name is Kalman, K-A-L-M-A-N, Resnick, R-E-S-N-I-C-K. I'm a Jewish American. I'm a member of Beth Emet Synagogue in Evanston, Illinois since I was 8 years old. And I'm an activist in Jewish Council on Urban Affairs, and I practice law defending immigrants and civil rights of all who are vulnerable in our society at this difficult time in our nation's history. Yesterday was Holocaust Remembrance Day, and I posted, as I do every Holocaust Remembrance Day, the photos of my relatives who were killed at Auschwitz. They were French Jews, arrested on the streets of Paris in October 1942, kept in French detention by French fascists in Drancy, and then deported to their deaths in February 1943. The swastika, which was painted on your home, I'm so sorry, it was a symbol for Jews and others of the incredible hate of that period of time and what happened to the Jewish people and others who were victims of the Holocaust. My family fled Europe in the 1890s. Part of the family ended up in the United States and Canada, part of France, but we were comforted and protected by Muslims in Turkey. It was then the Ottoman Empire. We found safety when we had to flee Europe in Turkey, and I want to offer you our support and our protection as a community because we must stand together. There are important ties between what happened at your home on Saturday, the hate crime, murder of a woman, and injury of people, including the rabbi who were praying at the Poway Chabad Synagogue in suburban San Diego, what occurred at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh last October, and what is happening here to your family and what is happening elsewhere. Those ties involve the fact that there are white supremacists, white nationalists, who are threatened by the presence in our society of people like you and me. And we must stand together, and the Jewish community is committed to standing together with the Muslim community so that we can help protect each other. What happened at the Tree of Life Synagogue happened because Jews were seen as protecting minorities, Muslims, immigrants. In Charlottesville, in 2017 in August, the marchers, the white supremacist marchers, chanted, "Jews will not replace us." I tried to figure out what that meant, and now I understand what it meant. It meant Jews were seeking to help immigrants and refugees and asylees come to the United States, and therefore we were trying to replace the white race. That's why they said Jews will not replace us. And I'm here to express the commitment of the Jewish community in Chicago and throughout our country that we're going to stand with our Muslim neighbors, that we're going to protect each other from hate and all others who are vulnerable at this very difficult time in our nation's history. When the President of the United States said, as he said, there were good people on both sides in Charlottesville, that's a lie. That was a symbol to people, go out and do what happened at Tree of Life, what happened at Chabad Poway, what happened at your home. We're going to resist, and we're going to not allow this to happen in our country. Thank you.
So with that, I'll open it up to any questions. We have also with us here Stuart, who is the personal attorney of Amir, and he might, assist with any questions that are of a personal nature by allowing it or not. But if you have any questions, please go ahead.
Yeah, maybe for Amir, just being the victim of a crime like this, maybe you could just get into a bit more detail. It happened overnight, very early in the morning, right? Woke you from the sound asleep, I assume?
Yeah, I was sleeping.
If you just have the microphone to ask the question.
I was sleeping. Around 2:30, someone threw a brick in my window. That startled me. I woke up. I was frozen. I started screaming. My parents came rushing downstairs, and they saw the brick. They turned the lights on, and then they went outside to see all the hateful graffiti. And we called the cops. They came, took pictures. Now it's an investigation, and we just want justice. We want people to feel safe in their neighborhoods. We want this person to get caught as soon as possible.
You weren't physically injured at all, I guess, were you?
I wasn't.
But obviously, very traumatized.
I am. This week has been one of the toughest weeks of my life.
Does it make it easier for you, though, to see people of different faiths coming together and supporting you and your family and the investigations?
Yes, we're very grateful of all the communities and everyone that's coming together. Hopefully this will spread a positive message in our community and bring Jews, Muslims, every person of color together, people that are not of color together. We just want justice for everyone.
How are your mom and dad doing?
They're hanging in there. They're doing it.
I mean, when your dad went outside and saw the messages, what did he tell you? What through his mind?
It was startling. He called the cops right away and went from there.
Any support from your neighbors next door or anything like that?
From what we know, everyone was sleeping. They didn't hear anything. We spoke to everyone.
I'll just add to it. It's your question. His father called me on my cell phone when this happened, and he seemed to be at a loss of words. He didn't know what to do. He said, how could this happen? Why would this happen? Should we continue to live here? Will this happen again? Will something worse happen to me and my family? So he was really in a state of shock and sort of fear of the unknown, that anything can now happen. You know, that really bad feeling in your gut that you just, something that you didn't expect to happen, so what else can happen type of thing. I tried to reassure him and tell him what the process was, and that the most important thing is that for us to not let this slide in darkness, because cowards thrive in darkness, but to shed a light on this. This perpetrator is a person who needs to hide, not the victim, not the communities that are affected. Better yet, they have to be captured. They have to be arrested and prosecuted.
Are you certain that this was just one person? Or?
We don't know. We don't know if it was one person to the question.
Amir, how many siblings do you have?
I'm the eldest of 6 kids. That's why this really hits home, because there's little kids in the house, and like they could have gotten hurt, and we just need this person to get caught as soon as possible, so this doesn't happen again.
How old is the youngest?
He's 2 years old.
And do we know how much he damages monetarily?
I'm not sure. That's something my dad is. How old are you? I'm 21 years old.
Do you guys have any surveillance or anything?
No. We thought we lived in a safe neighborhood. You know, like we didn't need surveillance. There's so many people like around us. We live in townhomes, so you know there's always people around. So like we just didn't, you know, think anything like this would ever happen.
If there are no more questions, I'd just like to make a request to the newsrooms, if it's at all possible, to please not list the address of the house, because the family is very afraid. One channel mentioned their address, and they were very upset by that. So.
Do you guys have pictures that we can use of the actual graffiti?
Yeah, it's in the press release.
Is it the press
We have a link to the 5 photos that we have. And you may use them. It's copyrighted if you use them. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry that happened.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.